Welcome to another video from Robotic Mower Services. We have an Automower upside down here because I'm going to go over changing the blades on an Automower once again for all of you that aren't quite sure what's going on there and had a bunch of questions about what to do and proper procedures and that kind of stuff. So, you're going to change the blades on your Automower. Obviously, you got to start with it upside down like this so you can get to the cutting disc and your blades and everything. First thing you want to do is you want to spin this around here to where these holes line up with the screw heads for your screws that hold your blades onto the cutting disc. As you're doing that, as you're lining that up, I like to give that thing a good spin. Just make sure the bearing's not growling in there, and make sure that this isn't contacting any of those screw heads for any reason. You know, maybe this thing got damaged or something and got bent up and it's going around there and it's clanking into a screw head, or some people have the groove wandering there from the screw head rubbing against it so much. So while you're doing that maintenance of changing the blade, it's always good to make sure everything else is good to go here with this cutting system. So we got our holes lined up here with our screw heads. Now we need a Phillips head screwdriver to take that screw out. For anybody that doesn't know, there is more than one type of Phillips head screwdriver. This right here, you can see that this has that real sharp point to it. That is going to fit down in the screw, but you can see that it's got a lot of, it turns a good bit there before the screw head turns. So there's a lot of slop there. So that's not the right one. Yes, I could actually put this in here and I could take that screw out. This is a brand new mower. Everything is clean on it. So yeah, I would have no problems doing that. But when this thing's been out there mowing and doing its thing that it's supposed to be doing, these screws go through the cutting disc. So on the other side of that little bit that sticks out through the cutting disc, it's going to have all kinds of grass and dirt built up on there. So when you go to turn this to bring it out, you're going to be fighting against all that too. So that's where a screwdriver like this, if it's loose, you're taking more of a chance of stripping or rounding out that Phillips head part there because it's already got slop to it. It's already not fitting tightly. So you make sure you got a good number 2 Phillips head screwdriver. You can see there's a big difference there. It's got that more blunt tip to it. And when you put it down in there, you're going to feel that it's going to grab right away. Like there's not that wiggle and wobbling around that we had with that other screwdriver, that other Phillips head. So what I do is I just grab the cutting disc, make sure the blade's not out there. You're going to cut your finger or anything. But I hold the cutting disc and then just squeeze the shield close to it, and then you can turn that screw right out of there. Pull that blade out. So now you just saw me do that, and I just squeezed down on this enough to get the screw head started turning loose. And when I spin this around, see, it didn't damage that. It didn't bend it or anything like that. It sprang back right up where it's supposed to be, because those other screw heads are still in there. You know, you still got 2 more screws in there. So obviously no damage was done, because it's not like I clamped vice grips down on there and put a kink in it or a crease in it or anything. Alright, so back to changing our blades. We took the screw out. Now it's time to put a new blade in. A couple different styles of blades out there. You have the original style, like this, where it's got the single hole and the screw goes through it, and the blade will pivot around on that shoulder on the screw, and that's all it does. That's the basic style. Then you have the endurance blades, and they have a slot in them, and that screw goes through that, and this moves on the shoulder just like the original style, but now it can slide in and out, and it can pivot around. So it's got all kinds of movement in almost every direction. So when you put these blades on, you always want to make sure to use a new screw. Really pointless if you don't. The blades will always come with new screws, and if you don't put a new screw in there, especially with these endurance blades, because they're made out of a harder material, when that blade is pivoting around that shoulder, right underneath the head of that screw. If you put the old screw back in there with that new blade, that screw has already had this blade, a blade pivoting around it for a pretty long duty cycle. So that hardened blade starts to wear into that shoulder on the screw. And eventually it'll just wear right through it to where the screw head will just come flying off. And then you have no way of getting that screw out of your cutting disc. Now, instead of putting in that free screw that came with your new blades, you're going to have to replace a cutting disc because you got broken screws in your cutting disc that you can't get out. So, I mean, the fact that the blades come with new screws is a really good indication that you should use the new screws that come with the new blades. So when you're putting in the endurance blades, you want to make sure that you have your screw going down through that slot, start the screw in there, and then lift up on the blade so that it's coming up against the head of the screw, so you know it's on that shoulder. When you do this, be careful. These blades are sharp. Don't cut yourself. But when you lift up on it and you have it riding on that shoulder of the screw as you tighten the screw down, then you know that you're not tightening the screw down against the blade so that it's pinched and can't move. And if you are wondering, hey, did I get that on there right? All you have to do is slide the blade in and out, or just give it a little fling. If it spins around the screw, if it moves at all, then yeah, you did it right. Same thing with the standard style blades. You want to get the screw started, lift up on it so that the blade is coming up against the head of the screw. So that when you tighten it down, you're not pinching the blade. And again, if you want to check it, just fling it around there. Do that carefully so you don't cut your finger or anything, because again, they are sharp, they are razor blades. But that's the basics for installing the blades on an Automower, for changing the blades, for installing new blades. Now, you saw me put an endurance blade on here, and you saw this has a standard blade over here on this side. Doing that just to show you guys what's what. You don't ever want to mix and match the blades. That's not good for it, because they're obviously different sizes, they're different weights, so it will cause some balance issues with the cutting system if you would try to do that. You know, you always want to have 3 of the same style blade on there to make sure that everything works properly. Spin these back out here. So now the other thing that you might want to check when you're doing this is if you haven't had this cap off in a while to see what's underneath there, every like 2 or 3 times you go to change your blades, grab your T20 Torx bit, take these 3 screws out, take this cap off, and take this shield off, because this shield will be nice and shiny on this side here that's facing down and rubbing against the grass. But underneath, that thing will be caked full of wet grass stuck to it and dirt and debris and everything. And that's gonna come around, and that's what's gonna start rubbing these screw heads and making a little bit of extra noise there. And just while you got the thing down, you're taking the time to put the new blades on and everything. You know, even if it's once a year, once a summer, in the middle of the season, take this off, clean it up, and just check everything underneath there. Make sure everything is spinning good. Make sure your bearing's not growling. You know, all that stuff is going to help prolong the life of the mower and prolong the life of your cutting system, just as much as putting the new blades on there will help prolong the life of all that stuff. As far as buying new blades, standard blades, Husqvarna has pretty much phased them out. You will see them coming in some of the new mowers yet, because that was a running change in the mowers, you know, that were boxed up already. And the endurance blades are what they have now. That's the only thing you can get from Husqvarna is the endurance blades. If you go to order blades from Husqvarna, this is what you're going to get. They sell them in 6, 45, and I think it's a 300 pack. We sell them 6, 9, 45, and 300. We do the 9-pack because it's a little bit better price, you know, for the people that don't want to buy the 45-pack, but, you know, 6 isn't really going to get you too far because you use 3 blades at one time on there. So 9, for a lot of people, will get them through one season. Yeah, so we have those options. The 45-pack is probably our biggest seller this year. Last year, the 9-pack was the biggest seller. The 45 really took off this year because people were like, okay, well, now I need to use 4 sets of blades a year because it was really wet, you know, and they caked up more because of the wet grass and all that stuff. One thing I should mention though, when you get these blades, you know, they're gonna be in a stack like that, whether it's the standard style or it's the endurance blades. They're in a stack like that, and you want to make sure that you carefully slide them apart, so when you go to put a blade on your mower, you're not putting 2 of them on there, because this happens very often where somebody will go to put a new blade on their mower, and they'll have a cutting imbalance issue, or be making a lot of weird noise. That is 2 blades stuck together there. You know, you're looking at that. If your eyes aren't that good, I know the video doesn't do it justice, but if your eyes aren't that good and you can't see those 2 razor blades stuck together, because look at that. That is them separated. You know, that's how much of a difference it is if you put the 2 of them together. So it can easily happen because there is a little bit of oil on there. It makes them stick. You definitely want to pay attention to that and make sure you're only putting 1 blade on there on each screw. So that's pretty much it. That's what you need to know when it comes to changing the blades on your mower. That's the basics. Again, we have the endurance blades. We have them in 6, 9, 45, and the 300 packs. If you want to really, really buy in, the 300 pack is the way to go. Or if you have a lot of mowers, that's, of course, you know, the more you buy at one time, the cheaper they're going to get. But yeah, our biggest seller, the 45 pack, followed closely by the 9 pack. If you want to buy them, you go on our website, www.roboticmowerservices.com. That's where you can find blades, you can find other parts for your Automower, you can buy Automowers, you can buy Automower accessories. You can reach out to us if you have a technical issue through our website. You can also send us an email, roboticmowerservices@gmail.com, if you don't see what you're looking for on the website. And be sure to include the model and serial number of the mower you're working with, and give us a good description of what you got going on with it and what you're looking for. If you're having technical issues, you can also, again, just send us an email, roboticmowerservices@gmail.com, and, you know, send as much information as you can, pictures, videos, serial number, model number, all that good stuff, so we can try to help you out the best we can. Yeah, that's going to do it for this video here. If you have any questions or anything, you can leave questions on the video, or you can shoot us an email, like I said, or drop us a note through our website. That's going to do it. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, and thanks for watching.